Hey everybody, it's Bob from First Church, and we're starting something that we're excited about that we'll put up on our website. We'd love to have you come check it out. On a fairly regular basis, we're going to be doing this, and so you can come and check back occasionally to see if we've posted something new. This week what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about Holy Week, and I'm not going to give you a message. I just want to give you some thought, just some thoughts that I have. Sometimes random thoughts, and for those of you that know me, a lot of times that's how my messages are. They're just random thoughts. So here's a short one. I want us to think about this week, in Holy Week, about in the life of Jesus, what is going on. In our past Sunday, we talked about the triumphal entry, and then Jesus went to the temple, and he cleansed the temple and began working with the people there. And in Matthew 21, it tells that the Pharisees and the rulers of the temple, the priests, they came to him and they were indignant, they were mad, they were upset with him. And that part of that was because he was doing things that were making them uncomfortable. He was hitting them where it hurt. They're saying, we have this great life. We're getting this money through temple taxes and things like that. We have a comfortable way of living, and you're upsetting us. You're changing things for us, and we don't like that change. The next day, when he came back, he was teaching in the temple, and they came up and they questioned his authority. They said, who are you to say these things to us? We don't trust you. We don't believe you. And so what he was doing was he was impacting their lives in a way that they felt was negative. It made them uncomfortable. It got them out of what they were used to. It made them fear for their finances and their livelihood and all the things they thought were important. And you know, for us, this can happen also. Jesus sometimes comes into our lives, and we can be a little bit afraid of what's going to happen with him being involved in my life, him being the Lord of my life. Is that going to make my life uncomfortable? Is that going to affect my finances? Is that going to affect me in ways that I don't want to be affected? Because he calls us to a life of sacrifice and service. He calls us to be people who are looking out for the needs of others and loving others. And that, in our day and age, is not comfortable. And so as you are going through this Holy Week and the weeks after, Jesus is extending this call to you. And for us, we don't want to be like the Pharisees, like the priests and the rulers of the temple who were unwilling, who said no. We don't like what you're saying. We don't want to be a part of what you're doing. And so we reject you. And their rejection was so severe that ultimately it led to his life being taken. And for us, sometimes we get afraid. God calls us. He wants us to sacrifice. He wants us to serve. And we don't like the implications of what that means. I want you to understand that ultimately what happened with Jesus is that it came out for the greater good of all mankind. And when God calls us to sacrifice and service, it will be for the greater good, and it will be for our good also. Because if we say no, that leads us on a path that leads down to meaninglessness. It leads down to uselessness. It leads to destruction. It is not what God made us for. So this week, be thinking about what God is calling you to do. One thing may be, and we've talked about this before, maybe inviting someone to church. This Sunday, Easter Sunday, we have 2 services, 8:30 and 10:30. We'd love for you to invite a friend. We'd love for you to invite a neighbor, someone that you care about. Show them that you care by inviting them. The worst that can happen is that they say no. And so think about that this week. Think about that as you think about future weeks and what's going on in your life and how you can impact those around us. Also, just want to mention this Sunday after the 10:30 service, we have a great time for the kids. We have an Easter egg hunt. Now, parents, we know Easter eggs and the Easter bunny is not what Easter is about. And we hope you're teaching your children that. But it is a lot of fun for kids. It's an enjoyable time. And I want to thank everybody who brought Easter eggs so that Jose and I can have dessert after our meals. And sometimes we can take some home at night. So thanks a lot, you guys. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.